Hello and welcome to our eDelivery Top 500 webinar and discussion. I'm Alex Sword, editor at eDelivery, and today I'll be presenting some brief findings from our upcoming eDelivery Top 500 report. So this looks at the top European performers across supply chains, logistics, and most importantly, the delivery promise they give to customers. With me today, I have Lawrence Roycroft from Fluent Commerce. Lawrence, would you be able to introduce yourself and Fluent?
Hi, Alex. Thanks for having me. So I look after sales for Northern Europe for Fluent Commerce. Fluent Commerce is a cloud-native order management platform. We help organizations deliver omni-channel experiences profitably. We do that by allowing people to do things like surface inventory into their local stores and provide services around click and collect, ship from store, and help people do complex order routing.
So we've chosen to give delivery its own dedicated report this year, as obviously it's become an increasingly key touch point for retailers during this big shift to online we've seen during the pandemic. Retailers can't necessarily rely on their stores to impress customers anymore. And so the delivery service can be the main experience someone has of a brand. So just as a case in point, I was speaking to my granny yesterday, who's in her 90s. She was telling me what a great service she had ordering a new washer dryer from AO. And I bring this up for two reasons. One, the fact AO gave her a good service was a nice confirmation that we're not completely missing the mark with our rankings as they're in our top category. But also it illustrates that if somebody has a really good experience of a brand, they'll talk about that experience to other people and spread the word. So just to set the scene a bit, I just want to talk a bit about our methodology. So our metrics focus on the service promise that a retailer makes to customers. That's essentially how fast, expensive, convenient is their delivery? How much does a customer have to spend to get free delivery? Can they get it on Saturday or Sunday, etc.? And using these weighted metrics, we produce clusters of retailers. So that's up to 500. You've got leading 25, top 50, top 100. And within each cluster, the retailers are just in alphabetical order. They should be read as having the same level of service. So what makes a good delivery then? Obviously, if we could all click a button and receive a product instantly and for free, we would do so. But in reality, we have to make trade-offs. So to understand how a customer looks at delivery, I've come up with some sort of scenarios here. You might have a customer of a fast fashion retailer who regularly browses that retailer's collection, looking for new items and discounts, and they'll choose a selection of items, possibly with different sizes and colors. And then scenario two, to compare, a customer wants to buy a specific game or DVD or whatever. They use a comparison engine to find the lowest combined price for the product, including delivery. So note in these two scenarios, they're both non-essential items, but a standard delivery charge takes on a different function. Say, for the fast fashion shopper, if there's a standard delivery charge, but if they spend over £50, say, they get it free, that will encourage them to buy more. Whereas for a video game shopper, when lots of different retailers are offering the same product for a similar price, free delivery might be what allows that retailer to offer the lowest total cost. So a third scenario might be where a last minute invite to an event and the customer needs a specific type of dress or formal wear, and their delivery becomes the paramount thing. They need to get it by this deadline or they're going to go to a different retailer. A fourth scenario, it's less about the cost and it's less about the time that they can get their grocery shopping, but it's very important that it comes on a day that they can rely on, because more planning goes into this than some other purchases. So how customers balance these competing factors will depend on the individual customer, it'll depend on the product and on the sector. But that's essentially why our research takes into account this wide range of metrics. Retailers are rewarded not just for having low cost or fast delivery, but for the range of choices that are available. So the retailers at the top of our ranking are most likely to be ones that satisfy customers across a wide range of these metrics. So here's our ranking. It goes up to 500, but these are just the top 25. Note, by the way, that over 50% of these are in the UK, which isn't a coincidence. This is related to the fact it's the most advanced e-commerce market in Europe. And there are obviously other entrants from the kind of other leading European markets here. So just to go into a few of these in more detail, American Golf, founded in 1980. So they have quite a wide range of delivery options by virtue of having two carriers, DPD and Hermes, who both focus on the premium and economy ends of the market, respectively. So the standard delivery for American Golf is 3 to 7 working days, $2.99, and next day delivery is available for $4.99. So it's low cost, and there's a range of options. French retailer Fnac, so they sell a range of different electrical products, cultural products, books, videos, DVDs, Blu-rays, I guess nowadays, software, luggage, DIY, gardening products. So a very wide range of products, and that's why they have a wide range of delivery options. So you can get a book delivered for €199, whereas a television will cost 29, but that includes installation. So it's and there's a next day option. So it's really catering to all the different types of customers that and products that they have. So Dutch department store Divisionkorf. So going back to 1870, they're a sort of luxury name in their market. They pride themselves on the top tier brands they offer, and therefore delivery has to be top tier as well. So they give you a guaranteed delivery 2 days, Monday to Saturday, and you can also have it delivered in store for so unifying their store estate with their online offering. And then the German supermarket Rue, so their tagline, they want to be close to customers. So they offer free delivery on orders over €50 for first-time buyers. They're trying to win as many people over to the service as possible, and it's quite cheap. It's up to €5.90 for the delivery. For groceries, isn't a bad price at all. So another entrant in our top category is Holland & Barrett. So I'm now going to introduce an interview with Pawan Khurana. He's head of multi-channel at Holland & Barrett, and I caught up with him earlier this week about what Holland & Barrett is doing and how they've been adapting to the constraints and obstacles of the pandemic. Great. So I'm here today with Paz Khurana from Holland & Barrett, which is one of our top retailers in our ranking. So congratulations. And I suppose we just want to hear firsthand what you're doing that makes everything tick over so well. So the first question I had, from Holland & Barrett's perspective, what makes a good delivery experience?
Yeah, so it's really important that we keep to our customer promise. So one of the things that we heavily invest in is whether it's within our operations or our tech teams and everything else, it's the right level of resource to make sure that we're looking at what our customers want and need from the delivery experience, and that's everything from on the website to the packaging they receive, to the actual package they receive, as well as the post-purchase communication, just keep them updated. Nowadays, consumers tend to be a lot busier. We expect fast, free delivery on time, and just keeping to our promises. So I suppose that's what we try to do. We try to start with the customer and underpin everything we do to evolve around that, really.
Great. And so you mentioned your investments in operations, logistics, and things. How do you deliver on this type of great delivery experience?
Yeah, no. So over the last over the last sort of 6 to 8 months, similar to lots of other retailers, we've been in a position where we've had exponential growth within digital and e-commerce. And it's been a quite Herculean effort from all of our cross-functional teams, whether it's been supply chain, logistics, our retail teams, our tech team, and within our team, the digital team. We've all come together to really scope out exactly what our customers' needs are, and come up with these really complex cross-functional plans to deliver on them.
So you mentioned the massive growth in online this year. What sort of changes have you seen in customer behavior?
Yeah, so just in terms of our customer behavior, so clearly during the pandemic and during the summer, generally largely across the industry and especially within our big box retailers, we saw lots of panic buying. We specifically saw a shift in towards buying food and to bulk buying vitamins. Clearly as customers were worried about their health, etc., we wanted to help them with their immunity and everything else that we could, to be fair. So that's the kind of shift in patterns we saw. We saw a massive rise in time-sensitive deliveries, so our customers tended to transition towards next day and nominated day options too, which was pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. And we spoke earlier this year, and you were telling me about some sort of major changes you made in order to better serve customers. Can you sort of tell me what you've done and how that has evolved since earlier this year?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, cross-functionally amongst our supply chain, logistics, digital, tech, and retail teams, we all came together during a pretty tough time. We actually converted 50 of our stores into fulfillment locations. We call them home delivery from store stations, and essentially we were rerouting a large proportion of our capacity for fulfillment through those locations. We set up a strategic partnership with Deliveroo, to help serve our customers better through the pandemic, and also we increased our capacity at our central facility in Burton, led by the supply chain logistics team, which was fantastic. One of the most exciting things we did though was to set up a pop-up warehouse with DHL in Crick. So we did that within 48 hours over bank holiday weekend, which was particularly fun. But essentially, we doubled, maybe tripled our actual fulfillment capability through that time to help serve our customers better.
Mm. And these changes you've made, how are they serving you as you go into peak period?
No, absolutely, yeah. So we expect there to be a double peak this year. So with the multiplicative effect of customers shopping at Holland & Barrett plus peak plus various different external factors, COVID still going on, etc. We expect it to be a very big peak. So we expect home delivery from store, our fulfillment locations from retail being a very big part of our future strategy, not just peak. So we're heavily focusing on continuously improving that stream of work, and retail. Our colleagues in store have been absolutely fantastic in uptaking that. So that's something that will stay with us forever, I think. Just in terms of our warehouse, the guys in the warehouse are doing a fantastic job in making sure that we do plan for the future. We're doing the right things around automation, the right things around sustainability of packaging, and just listening to what our customers want. In the end of the day, during coming out of this pandemic, it's just really important that we continue to listen and act.
Mm. And you mentioned sustainability there. Can you tell me about some of the initiatives you have around that? And I suppose, does that conflict with how does sustainability align with profitability and things like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So sustainability for us is probably off the forefront of our minds, and it's up to us to make sustainability not only right for the environment but also pay. So that comes before anything, I think. And the team at the warehouse have been doing fantastic work in terms of procuring the right packaging. So a massive initiative that we're working on going into Black Friday and Christmas into next year is around packaging. So we want to go into an eco packaging solution that really sets a marker in terms of ending our waste, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And more broadly, what are your kind of next steps and ambitions in the sort of medium term?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, in the medium term, it's it's getting through peak. It's making sure our customers receive world-class experiences during peak Black Friday, Christmas, and then into next year how we can serve them better. I think, you know, I hate to use the cliche of a new normal, but the world is changing, and you know, we want to change with it, and you know, really serve our customers in the UK to the best of our ability, especially during these tough times.
And do you see these models that you have so pop-up fulfillment centers, you know, is there a process to evaluate how these might be used more broadly in future?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So I think the way we're going now, you know, especially within the industry, not just Holland & Barrett specifically, is a world of flexibility. So it's kind of a modular approach to things. So we want to flex up and flex down with our demand. And I think, you know, utilizing our stores and, you know, our store colleagues helping us out in that sense has been absolutely fantastic for us. It gives us that, you know, flexibility. You know, within a couple of weeks we can set up X number of stores, and those stores can help us serve our customers better, you know, from a digital point of view. And in terms of pop-up warehouses, you know, absolutely, that's something that we definitely look to use as and when we need to.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. Thanks very much then, Paz, for your all the insight and sort of being able to see a bit behind the scenes of what makes a great delivery experience. So thank you.
Fantastic. If I can just use this opportunity to thank all my colleagues at Holland & Barrett, you know, especially within the retail team, supply chain, logistics and digital IT, you've done a fantastic job. Thank you so much. Cheers. Cheers, Alex.
Great. Thank you. So now I'm going to look at the kind of country breakdown of this. So you can see there the percentage of retailers we track in each country which offers next day delivery, and which country has the lowest standard delivery charge. So just to delve into this, as we said, the UK is the most advanced e-commerce market. So no surprise that it would have that kind of premium service available. And Poland having the cheapest median standard delivery charge. So this could be for a number of reasons, but one part of this will be that just as Amazon Prime has raised the bar for delivery in lots of markets it operates in, Poland has its own kind of local e-commerce platform marketplace called Allegro. So they offer their big range via the subscription service Allegro Smart, the kind of Amazon Prime equivalent. And it's only €2 a month, and you get unlimited free home deliveries. So, you know, these kind of players can often move the market. And Belgium and the Netherlands are also on that list. So again, you've got a dominant local player in the form of bol.com. So they offer free and fast delivery with a relatively low annual fee. And we also look at the retailers by sector. So I've just pulled out a few of the stats there. So we've got the drink offering same-day delivery, presumably because it can be quite a last-minute purchase. And something that's not on this list, we're looking at online grocery within our metrics. That's definitely a market to watch. They are one of the most likely sectors to allow customers to choose a nominated day for delivery, with 20% of retailers doing that. So that factors into what I was saying earlier. That's the importance of certainty over speed. It's interesting to watch online grocery and how it's evolved since the pandemic hit. So you've got the example of Morrison's, which was not even online until 2013, and it's used all these different methods to get to customers. So there's been the food box it's worked on with DPD. So this bundles a few generic items into a sort of weekly top-up type box. And they've also worked with Deliveroo to get that fast on-demand option. Right, so now I'm going to welcome Lawrence and just chat to him about the market and what Fluent is seeing. Great, thanks for joining us, Lawrence. So I just wanted to start with, based on the themes we've been discussing, what are the kind of must-have delivery offerings for retailers, do you think?
Well, I think it's difficult to name a specific one, but from our point of view, this all comes down to retailers being able to offer customer choice. often organizations are limited by their own business processes. But really what we want to be able to do is offer, or what businesses should be able to do, is to offer all delivery options to customers and allow customers to make the choice they want. Examples of this might be that if you have an order that has 3 items in it, one might be coming from a drop ship, 2 might be available in a store. So you may have one that was available the next day and one that's available in 14 days. Typically, people will offer a 14-day delivery time, but actually what you want to be able to do is separate the orders out and offer choice to the customer. So this is really about saying to customers, what are your preferences? What choices do you want to make and what experience do you want to have? And from there, customers can make those decisions, and it's up to the business to be able to support them.
Great. And what do you see as the key challenges then that retailers face in delivering these options?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to that sort of lack of fulfillment flexibility, that they don't have the business processes in the back end with which to be able to offer these fulfillments on the front end. Also, being able to surface inventory to customers is a real challenge on the front end. And that kind of brings us back to one of the core challenges for retailers is around that inventory piece, being able to get an accurate view of inventory across your entire enterprise, which then allows you to have the opportunity to offer better fulfillment options. So whether it's click and collect or ship from store, a lot of organizations will offer these, but whether they can do them efficiently and effectively is a real problem for organizations.
Mm. And obviously, we've had a major impact on retail this year with the COVID-19 pandemic. How has that impacted retailers' fulfillment sort of requirements in your view?
I mean, obviously, it's been a terrible year for retail and the whole economy. But I think from our point of view, what it's shown or what it's done, given us is that the requirements aren't necessarily new. They've just been accelerated. So organizations that have been offering things like click and collect or ship from store, or had them on programs of work that were coming down the line, they've now become essential. So, obviously in places like the US where it's, curbside or buy online and reserve in store, those kind of programs are now being accelerated into the front of house. We're also seeing that programs around inventory are also being accelerated, in that when you have stores that are then unable to have customers in them, understanding what's in those stores and how to access that inventory and get that to customers still, even with no customers in it, is a real challenge for retailers. And a lot of them are or have been preparing for what happens if there is a second lockdown and shops do stop. So actually getting better inventory visibility and providing opportunities to get that inventory out to customers still is a real thing that we're looking at. So again, going back to the question, the requirements haven't changed, they've just seemingly been accelerated.
What has been the kind of obstacle to retailers getting this direct control over the inventory in stores and making sure that's accessible for online as well?
So from an order management point of view, we would look at that and say, most organizations have static inventory lists, so they know where things are at a certain point in a day, but having real-time or near real-time information on where that stock is, and then the ability to surface that to other applications that need that information is really challenging, and that's really what they've struggled with. So they may say that a store in Wandsworth may have a certain number at 10 o'clock in the morning or at 12 o'clock that night, but understanding what the decrement of that stock is throughout the day and how they can utilize that stock in other channels, be it a marketplace or serving the online channel, all of those things that they can't seemingly do, and that means that because they can't get that accurate time, being able to fulfill from store or ship from store becomes extremely challenging for them.
Mm. And what's the role of data generally in ensuring that supply chains perform strongly?
So we look at this from the front end of the supply chain, so where the customers interact with that supply chain. And for us, data is hugely important. So it can come down to things like optimizing the fulfillment of the stock, of inventory, of the customer experience, being able to deliver that profitably, utilizing data like sell-through rates, utilizing data in merchandising. So you may want to merchandise based on someone's pickup location preference. If you know that they have a preference for a click and collect in a certain store, you may want to merchandise their online experience with stock that's already available within that store so that they can have a better experience. And all of that is done through managing the data sets of the business. We also utilize data around the fulfillment and capacities of the logistics organizations so that we're able to bring that together to surface that to the customer to give them better accuracy on fulfillment times. So yeah, that's kind of, data is a huge part of what happens in our workflow and the modeling that we do.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's slightly been on the back burner this year, but sustainability is still a major theme for retailers. How do you see them balancing the demands of sustainability with the good customer experience that everyone's expecting?
So for us, customer experience and sustainability are not sort of conflicted. They're one and the same thing, in that I think it really depends on what the brands want themselves. Sustainability for us is more of a brand question, in the sense that brands that want to invest in that ethos will seemingly do well if that's what their customers are looking for. The question really is, and where the conflict comes within businesses, is sustainability versus profitability, because sometimes reusable materials, condensing shipments can be more expensive or could have greater lead time, which could reduce the impact for the customer or reduce the want of a customer to convert. But ultimately, we think that if you can drive a sustainable business, looking after the environment, then that's going to be drive better long-term value for your customers and drive the better experience, meaning that customers will be more likely to shop with you. And utilizing order management and utilizing orchestration, you should always be able to drive down the cost of that fulfillment, which allows people to do it maybe at a slightly higher cost, but actually still do it in an efficient way, but still be sustainable at the same time.
And just as a final question then, what do you expect to see in the delivery market in the sort of medium term?
Yeah, so a lot of retailers have introduced new delivery options and fulfillment options this year. We've also seen the sort of disintermediation of fulfillment, where organizations are not wanting to house as much stock and they're utilizing direct to consumer, so the drop ship model. And really what we think is going to happen over the next 12 months is an upscaling of those solutions. So where people have dipped their toe in the water of things like drop ship, they're really going to start to utilize them in anger, and maybe where they had 2 or 3, they might in the next 12 months have 12 to 14 or even 20 drop ships that they're utilizing. And then that obviously creates challenges around how you manage that inventory across multiple sources. And that's really what we think people will be looking at to do over the next 12 months.
So in a way, it's these technologies and solutions that have been seen as sort of adjuncts to the main supply chain are becoming more strategic. Retailers are really thinking how things like dropship can actually be a profit driver rather than just a way of sorting out a specific problem.
Yeah, all of these challenges and all of things like marketplaces, dropships, all of the different types of fulfillment and all locations that people are utilizing to house and distribute inventory from are becoming more strategic. And the challenge is, how do you do all of that profitably? Because with stores not on the decline, but the use of them limited by the current regulations, stores aren't able to play the role that they did. So there is a greater reliance on the online, and we've seen a massive increase. Organizations who are trading at essentially peak volumes at the moment, and are now concerned about what peak's going to look like for them. But actually, we've seen this huge uptake in online, and the supply chains haven't been able to react to it. So you need to be able to deliver that, but deliver it in a profitable way, because the online has traditionally been the most expensive channel with which to serve customers. So it's all about utilizing this scale, but doing it in a profitable and sustainable way.
Great. Well, thanks very much, Lawrence, for joining me today, and thanks to Pawan for his interview earlier. So we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you to all the audience as well, and please join us tomorrow for a webinar on peak.